everybody, I'm Tommy, and you were on the lifeboat. How's it going? Hey, Joe, good to have you here. Just Joan, good to see you. Cindy G, what's happening? Just Joan, Jody, glad you're here. Cindy G, Chase the Heat, that would be the Johnny Scoville. I'm surprised you didn't know that. Streamer, YouTube for you, I'm glad that you're here. Hey, Lisa Palmer, cat, knock that off. Boy, oh boy, man. Life is better with cats, right? Danique, I'm glad that you're here. Hey, Nancy, Tennessee girl, good to see you. Lisa Palmer, how are you? K Design, Roddy Mama's in the house. Leon Rose, I'm so glad you're here. Edward, how you been? The Punisher, Mop Man, glad that you are here. What did I miss from Mop Man? Congratulations, Mop. I'm not sure what it is, but congratulations are in order. Flinter, what's up? Glad that you're here. Hey, Sue, Mama Bear 7, glad that you're in the house. Confident Joy, how are you? How you been? Tell your mom and them I said, what's up? Rock Prophet, good to have you here. Howdy. So do me a favor, everybody. Smack the like button. It really does help, and it pisses off YouTube. I Rule, how are you? This one, I take very serious pleasure in, people. This one really makes me happy. Hey, baby. Reese is here. Hey, Maryland's Fine Art. Glad that you're here. Southie Girl. You had a Flame Point ragdoll. Hey, Tennessee Girl. Lottie, good to have you here. Roberta, how are you? Sheila, how are you? Sherry Dobbs, glad you're here. And from Mass, Roberta. Allie, good to have you here. Johnny, I had a Flame Point ragdoll named King George that passed New Year's Eve. Oh, I'm so sorry. That looks just like Katy Perry. Beautiful, beautiful girl you have. Yeah, started to brush her today. She's just getting used to it. And she's not a fan. I'm not going to lie to you. She doesn't like it when I brush her. She seems to get just a little salty. But because I'm not dad, she will allow me to do it. When Johnny does it, she tries to take 2 or 3 quarts of blood out of him on every attempt. Robin, glad that you're here. So listen, if you've never heard of Wes Watson, you're probably a happy person. Wes Watson is what they call a alpha male content creator. Now, what alpha male, I've done shows on this before, but I know a lot of you are new. The alpha male content creators are people that spend an awful lot of money to pretend they have an awful lot of money. They will lease very expensive cars. They will lease penthouses, and they do everything they can to make young guys that don't have dads wish that they had somebody to sort of pave the road for them and show them how to be a man. The sad thing is that they don't show anybody how to be a man at all. And one of the worst examples of this in history is a gentleman by the name of Wesley Watson. And Wes Watson did time in prison. He likes to say that he did 10 years for a violent crime, and he was a shot caller when he was in prison. Truth of the matter is, none of this happened. It didn't. And even out of his own mouth, the problem is people don't go back and research. But when he first got out of prison, he said he checked in. That's a term that people use to mean I can't be around other people. I think I'm going to get my ass kicked. It is considered really bad form in prison to check in. Sometimes gang members have to do it because their entire gang wants to kill them. But Wes Watson did it just because he was worried. He was worried that guys were going to stomp him out like a brush fire, as well he should be, because he is a bad, bad human being. But when he started out, one of the first videos he did, he used to film on a set of park benches. And he talked to people about staying sober, about having goals, about working out. And then all of a sudden he went and got about this big. He was doing Trenbolone, he was doing testosterone, he was doing human growth hormone, and he got really huge and told people that you can do the same thing if you just eat right and do a lot of push-ups, which of course is bullshit. You can get in great shape doing that, but you're not going to look like someone stuffed an air hose up your ass and instantly you have a chest that you can set a beer on, right? This guy is, hey, Hockey, glad you're here. This is a guy that just wanted to make money, and he sold a book, and then he sold a bunch of coaching programs. And in the very beginning, he did a show where he said the word bitch, referring to women. And he said, I'm sorry. You know what? No one should ever call a woman that. Over the course of the next 6 years that he had been out, he changed his pitch, and he became, one of those wrestlers from the WWE. And everything he said was violent. And he talked about bitches and, if you want to score bitches, just the most disgusting. When he first got out, he got married. A lot of people don't research any of this stuff, but when he first got out, he got married. He beat the crap out of this girl, and she's terrified. She's in hiding to try to stay away from him. But Again, nobody researches anything. So all of his new stuff where he talked about being a shot caller, there are not shot callers on check-in yards. Check-in yards are where you hang out with sex offenders and people that can't walk the main line. Do me a favor, 200 of you in here, smack that subscribe button and hit like. It helps out a big time with the algorithm. And I promise you, by the time this is done, I'm going to piss off the algorithm something fierce, so I need your help. And do me a favor and hit that bell for notification. Make sure you hit all. And then every time I go live, you're going to find out about it. Marie Marion, glad that you're here. So why am I taking so much time with this guy? Perfectly me. Good to see you. Because the last time I did a show on him, I said, the reason I'm doing this is because we're going to get to follow his criminal case. He beat up a guy, right? Not a fair fight, by the way, but a guy, he used to come on every morning and he'd say, yeah, you want to be a troll, you pussies? Come on down to the gym. I'm there from 8 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Show up. You want to go at it? Bring it. One-on-one, you and me. So a guy shows up. Hey, Sharon, Southie girl, looking good and green. The guy shows up, black guy. He's about 7 feet tall. Wes proceeds to call him a toad. Within prison, that's like calling somebody the N-word with a hard R. It is a horrifically racist term to use against black people. Calls him a toad, all kinds of other things. And then he and a whole group of his friends attack him. Wes hits him first with a weight belt, which is weighted, has metal on it, and smacks this guy. Then proceeds to jump on this guy, and they kick the hell out of him. And I mean literally. Wes punches him dozens of times and then kicks him in the head like he's a soccer ball. This guy called the police, and the police arrested Wes. He got out on bail, and he has been waiting for this to get through the court system. The guy is also suing him civilly. Now, Wes decided that he wasn't going to handle all this. You know, don't handle today what you can put off forever. And that's basically what Wes Watson did. Dumb thing to do, because if your civil case ends up in court before your criminal case, then the prosecution can use everything they hear in that civil case to prosecute you with. But this is not a man burdened by deep thought, right? He is an absolute woman-hating asshole. No other way to say it, man. And he has a neck beard too. Well played, Lee Family Empire. Hey, Mr. Carson, glad you're here. Caroline Hughes, you're going to hear a lot of people covering this who say, I take no joy. I don't wish anybody to go to prison. Maybe I'm a little different. Jen Feinberg, do I understand we're on year 4? Everybody, can you put a quattro in the chat for Jen, who is celebrating 4 years of sobriety today? Whatever I say from this point on isn't going to be all that important. But 4 years of sobriety is hitting it out of the park. All you got to do now is rinse and repeat. Couldn't be more proud of you if I had to be. Tommy, have you seen the trolls and fake YouTubers making allegations against JLR? Just wondering if you sense they are true or fake. Either way, I rule 35 days. Good for you. Those are the hardest 35 days, I promise you. Whether or not they're true or not, Royce, I don't know. And I try not to comment on content creators unless it rises to the level where they get arrested. Wes Watson is a exception to this rule. I never commented on him before he got arrested, but he leases his cars, he leases his house, and he does everything he can to bilk good young men out of their money. Justice Jane, good to see you. So I'm one of the guys who's going to tell you straight out, I take massive pleasure in this guy's downfall. I cannot wait to see him go to prison. Since getting out, he tattooed his entire head. He put Dago above his eyebrow. He has a teardrop tattoo. Now, if you know what teardrop tattoos mean, it means you killed somebody inside prison, right? You don't get them on the street. Bad form. Bad form. And the fellas inside don't particularly like that. Buffy, I'm glad you're here. He got a teardrop tattoo on the street. He also did his entire head. His whole body is now tattooed. And he goes on every day to say people, JLR is one of the largest streamers right now on the Nancy Guthrie case. He does true crime. He was doing 1 million views a day. He's a powerhouse. He is a guy that has been to federal prison before, so we have a couple of things in common. But allegedly, and I'm not weighing in on this, I'm just trying to let you know what's going on. Allegedly, there's some domestic violence charges in the guy's current past, like recently. I don't know whether it's true or not. And until somebody gets arrested for it, I wouldn't be commenting on it, because this is one of those situations that people say things about me every day, and I don't know whether or not it's true. I really don't. I'm certainly not going to run with it. But if it turns out to be true, I don't have any respect for people that put hands on women. One of the reasons I'm taking so much joy in what's happening right now with Wes Watson is because this is a man that thinks it's okay to hit a bitch. I'm quoting him. Do not hold me accountable for what I just said. Diane, good to see you. Tracy, Pratt, how are you? It's okay to hit a bitch if she does something that deserves it. So let me tell you exactly what happened. On the 17th of this month, keep in mind, hello, Natalie, he's out on bail. Do you understand? He's out on bail for this 7-foot monster is what he called him. Black guy, 7 feet tall, that he and a bunch of friends beat the hell out of. He is going to probably go back to prison for this because Wes did go to prison legitimately. He says it was because when he was 13 years old, he started dealing drugs. By the time he was 15, he had bought his first car, his first condominium, and a Range Rover that was supercharged. Again, nobody ever looks this stuff up. They just go, oh, how about that? Number one, if you're a 13-year-old and you try to go get dope from a dope dealer that's moving hundreds of pounds, they're going to rob you. It's just that simple. You're a mark. At 13, they're not going to assume you're a killer. And this guy was not big at 13. I've seen images of him. However, he claims that this happened, right? Whether or not that's the truth, what I can tell you the truth is this. He didn't buy a supercharged Land Rover when he was 13 because the supercharged Land Rover didn't come out for another decade. He said that he bought a jacked up Z71 pickup that he paid $50,000 for. Well, it was $26,000 the year that he was 13. He is a pathological liar that nobody ever calls him on. He said that he did all of his time in the California prison system, which is, make no mistake, the nastiest, and I mean the nastiest prison system in the United States. They set the tone for all other prison systems, and it is ugly. Goes deeper than domestic violence, according to Chat GPT, but people change. Some people hate people becoming successful. Well, and here's the thing. I got a nasty criminal record, but there are times that AI will tell you about crimes I did not commit. And the way that those things do what they do, very often they just grab things that are current or things that other people say. So I don't trust AI. If you say to AI, find me the article where somebody said that, and you can find the article, then I would probably believe it. If he didn't earn the teardrop and he's too young to have charge and release, what will happen to him when he goes back with an unearned teardrop? Well, sometimes they like to cut it off with a razor blade. Sometimes they'll just beat the ever-loving snot out of you. But here's the other problem. He has called black people racial slurs. He has called Mexican people racial slurs. He has also said that he's a member of the Aryan Brotherhood. There's literally nothing that you can do in prison dumber than claiming a prison gang you're not a member of. And he claimed he was a member of the Aryan Brotherhood. The AB has no sense of humor, and I mean none. So, and he said, you're going to hear this today, man. You're going to hear this today, that this individual said to the girl that he beat up on the 17th of this month, a girl that he was engaged to, recently got engaged, made a big video about it, opening up a 15-carat diamond. Now, according to him, he makes millions of dollars a month. There's no truth to this. There isn't. However, he didn't buy her a 15-carat flawless diamond stone. For anybody that's into diamonds, you know what one of these costs. The guy's running out of money. No one else will buy his programs. He can't make videos on YouTube anymore because nobody will watch them. I get more likes on one video than he gets in a month because he's hated by everybody. Tommy, he posted bail for current charges, but the judge revoked his bail for previous charges. He is still in jail. This is an absolute fact, right? Here's how it goes down. He had $115,000 bail because he has 5 charges on this case. He has charges from trying to steal something from someone without a weapon. That's him grabbing the ring back from this girl. He held her captive, kidnapped her over a 24-hour period of time, probably closer to 30 to 32 hours of time. There's 5 charges that all have to do with domestic violence and beating on a woman. On top of this, he's already out on bail. So you don't have to put up $115,000. You only have to put up 10% of that, right? So Wesley Probably sold a Rolex. He has 3 or 4 Rolexes that are real. The rest of his watches are all fake, right? All fake. However, he probably sold a real Rolex or had somebody do it. And he posted his bail. When he did, they went, sorry, the previous bail that you're on have revoked that bail. Now you have to go in front of that judge. And is the guy on steroids? Good God, yes, is he on steroids. But the judge that gave him the bail the first time isn't going to cotton to this very well. And I actually talked about this with Johnny Scoville. I thought he would get out very often because in Florida, the counties don't communicate with each other. So until you get out, there won't be an arrest warrant. They got to be pissed. This happened on the 17th. Today is the 20th, and he is still incarcerated. And he's incarcerated in a place where probably 9 out of 10 people in there know he's full of shit, which is a dangerous place to be. So how bad is this? How is his bail for that low for 5 counts? Mine was $100,000 for 1 felony. I didn't get bail, and I owned a home. I was married to a lawyer that was an officer of the court locally. All of my relatives lived in that town, and I couldn't get bail. But that's the feds. They redid the bail system in the United States, and unfortunately, it didn't go over very well. Locke, I'm glad that you're here. So let's get a look at this because I find this stuff both important and somewhat entertaining, right? So this is the first page of his booking sheet. And this is basically kind of irrelevant. This just says who he is and what's going on with him. There's not a whole lot of information you're going to get on that. However, this starts the entire process. This is page 1 of 6. The victim and the defendant have been in a romantic relationship since January of 2026. After 2 months of their relationship, the defendant proposed to the victim and asked her to move in, which she resided on and off at his residence in Hollandale Beach, a residence that, by the way, he rents. Everything the guy has, he rents. It's all BS. Now, stick with me. Here's the thing. This is a trigger warning. If you're somebody that is going to be very upset by domestic violence and the speech of it, then this is probably a good time to bail because what this guy did is reprehensible. So there is your trigger warning. You have time if you want to leave. 350 of you in here. Do me a favor. Smack the like button, hit subscribe, and hit the bell for notification. On Saturday, March 14th, the victim went to a Miami Heat basketball game with her female friend. After the game, the defendant picked her up from a friend's house, and they went to his residence. At this point, it was approximately 0600 hours on Sunday, March 15th, 2026. While they were at his residence, the victim stated the defendant received a text message of a screenshot of her and a friend while at the Heat game. The defendant, this would be Wes Watson, confronted her about her whereabouts as she had not disclosed it. She had gone to the game with her friend. The defendant began yelling at the victim, explaining he paid for that boob job, that she was disrespectful for having her boobs hanging out, and that those are my boobs, also accusing her of cheating on him. Obviously, a guy with an awful lot of faith in himself. The victim further elaborated that this was when the defendant freaked out. The victim said that this is when the defendant freaked out and against her will forcefully grabbed her by the neck and told her, "You stupid bitch. That's where you were," meaning the basketball game, because he apparently didn't know where she was while she was out. The victim could not remember if the defendant held her with 1 or 2 hands, but this caused massive bruising to her neck area to the left and to the right. The defendant began to rattle and shake her by grabbing both of her arms forcefully. He continued to push and grab her by the hair and slam her onto the floor. The defendant then dragged the victim by her hair on the floor and later pinned her up against the kitchen table. He pushed and grabbed, manhandling the victim's face, causing a scratch to the victim's right cheek. The victim stated the defendant forcefully pinned her back against the table, causing her back to bend and hurt. The defendant began yelling at the victim, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you and your whole family." He continued to push the victim back down to the floor with force and picked her back up and forcefully, against her will, sat the victim in a chair. Guy's a hero, right? The juice is obviously doing wonders for Wesley Watson. Saturday, so hold on one second. Sorry, wrong page here. 4. Hold on. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. This is it. Sorry, people. They all look very similar. On Saturday, March the... why will this not go? Okay, during the defendant's physical abuse toward the victim, she yelled, "Help me, please help me, get him off me," to the 3 other witnesses who were present inside the residence. The victim elaborated nobody did anything to help her or get the defendant to stop it. Should be noted the victim is approximately 5'1" and weighs approximately 125 pounds, while the defendant is 6'1". Did you catch that, Johnny Scoville? Oh, yeah. 6'1" and weighs approximately 245 pounds. I should mention, this cat ain't 6'1", right? This is a bone of contention with this egomaniac. He's 5'8", right? The last time he was arrested, they actually measured him. Very often at county jails, they'll just ask you how tall you are. He said 6'1". He's 5'8", and he gets more pissed off about this than almost anything. He is not 6'1". Tells you a lot about who he is. He wears Chuck Taylors with 3-inch lifts in them so that he can look like he's a bigger guy. This is a man with all kinds of very serious ego problems that are related to him not being a big dude, if you know what I'm saying, right? Small-dicked weakling. It was at this point the victim elaborated the defendant then grabbed her with his right hand by her hair and then slammed her head down onto the kitchen table, which caused the victim to sustain a large cut to her forehead, which began bleeding profusely. The victim advised that she was in a state of shock, which she believed she had momentarily blacked out and lost consciousness. The victim explained her memory was fuzzy from that point forward. The victim advised it was then that the defendant stopped beating on her and snatched her cell phone out of her hand. While holding a plate in the other hand, the defendant threatened to break the plate on top of her head, told her he would grab a bottle and break it and slash it across her face. He told her he would kick her face in. This is a hero, right? He's 245 pounds, 5'8", and a girl 125 pounds. You're a friggin' hero, Wes Watson, you scumbag. The defendant then told the victim to drink, while forcibly pouring alcohol down her throat. It was at this point the defendant told his live-in assistant, and they black out the guy's name, Carlos, lowlife, clean her up. She doesn't, if she doesn't stop bleeding, for which the Carlos cleaned her cut and then glued it. Did you catch that? And then glued her forehead. This would be with super glue.
Yeah, you glued me.
I have glued you, but you're a man. It was also at this point the defendant gave his friend, which was another witness. It should be who was another witness to the incident, the victim's cell phone. The defendant had his friend look through her text messages, photos, and social media to make sure she isn't cheating on me. The unidentified friend began investigating the defendant and her phone, at which point he told her that she needs to take responsibility for what she has done. Classy. His physical actions toward the victim. The third witness was the defendant, a security guard, identified as Carlos, told the victim to take accountability for her actions, wearing a shirt that exposed her breasts. Because how unbelievably, over the line is that? God forbid the girl you just bought a rack for somehow doesn't cover him up with a sweatshirt when she goes to a game. The defendant did not allow the victim to utilize her cell phone or call anybody. The victim was forced by the defendant to tell her cousin she got the scratch on her cheek from derma peeling or dermabrasion. If you're familiar with this, it's a something that women and some men do to help with skin. It's a process that you do, kind of a plastic surgery to make your skin look, well, like my wife's. Although Reese never did dermabrasion. Further, the defendant told her if police were to have arrived at the residence, she needed to tell police she slipped on the rug at the residence. And throughout the altercation, the victim stated the defendant held her hostage and would not let her leave. The victim tried to leave the residence, but the defendant feared she would contact police. And due to being on parole, which is actually not parole, but he's out on bail for a charge that he's currently facing. He could not allow it. The defendant continued to verbally abuse and yell at her over the course of more than 24 hours. The victim eventually fell asleep, and upon awakening the next day, she wanted to leave the defendant's residence, but he would not allow her to leave. That's kidnapping. The defendant continued to tell the victim she could not leave because her face was all fucked up, and you have to stay here for more days until your face heals up. The defendant told her if she went home, her parents would call the police on him, and I can't go to jail. Yeah, damn right you can't, especially with this kind of jacket, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But I can't go to jail, he kept saying. The defendant further stated, if I go to jail, something bad is going to happen to you, to all of your friends, and to your family. The defendant further implied he would have girls jump the victim in order to ruin her reputation. The defendant further told his security guard, Carlos, to make sure she doesn't run, and he had him stand at the door in an effort to keep the victim from leaving the residence. The victim stated she did not have her cell phone. The date of the incident, let's get to the next one here real quick. Yeah, there we go. Most of the following day, she elaborated the defendant had monitor her incoming messages. Carlos would give her the phone briefly and told her she needed to tell the people that she was okay and to text them back. Other times, the defendant would act as if he was her and send text messages on her behalf, pretending to be her. I'm okay. I'm going to sleep. She advised she stealthily took possession of her cell phone as it was on the table while the defendant was getting dressed. The defendant threatened her by telling her, if you want to keep your family safe, don't call the police. While the victim was seated in a chair, he lifted the chair with such force he dropped the victim onto the floor. The incident's physical abuse lasted approximately 40 minutes, but led into the following day. During this time, the victim was scared and afraid of the defendant. She believed he was capable of killing her, and that then himself he had said to her, the victim stated, the defendant does have firearms at the residence, but wasn't sure how many. Felon in possession of a firearm, folks. Felon in possession of a firearm. That's a 912 in the federal system or a 928 A, B, or C. Those carry 5 to 25 years. If it's happening in the commission of a felony, then you're in a hell of a lot of trouble. The victim suffered the following injuries. A cut on the forehead, approximately 2 centimeters long, red scratch on the right cheek, approximately 1 centimeter or larger, bruises on either side of the neck, approximately 3 centimeters, bruises on her right knee, approximately blah, 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 bruises on her right shin, bruise on the inner thigh and knee, bruise on the inner left knee, bruise on the outer calf. He beat the piss out of this girl. This lowlife literally beat a woman. This is a continued list of injuries. Knot and bump on the head, red bruise on the back of neck. This is from him grabbing her. Bruises on the right side of her middle, lower back. Bruises on the right shoulder. Bruises on the left shoulder. And these are big ones. Large dark bruises under the right breast. Probably trying to tear him out because he did threaten that he would cut these tits out before he allowed somebody else to enjoy them. This guy's a class act. The teletype query for the defendant revealed he was convicted of a prior battery with serious bodily injury. And there's a case number here. Further, it was clear the defendant struck the victim against her will, causing severe injuries and causing the victim to lose consciousness due to forcefully striking the victim's face against a glass table. Imprisoned the victim by both threat and violence and confined her at his residence without letting the victim leave. Threatened to hurt the victim while holding a plate after allegedly committing battery against her, depriving the victim of her cell phone after snatching from her hand, preventing the victim from communicating with law enforcement. The defendant is charged accordingly with a host, and I mean a host of felonies. All of these felonies, people, are not the kinds you fart around with. He's looking at going to prison for an awful long time. And I couldn't be happier. I'm sorry. This is justice. This is a guy that has been he is absolutely awaiting trial, Sharon Z. He is awaiting trial. I will be shocked if the judge on his first case allows him to walk back out of that prison. It would be. Say it again?
And the two cowards that
Absolutely, and it's actually 3 cowards. Johnny Scoville asks, can the 3 people that were watching this get charges? You bet they can, especially the ones that were standing by the door, stopping her from leaving. Let me explain something really quick to all of you fake alpha males out there. The definition of an alpha male, in my opinion, is somebody that would not allow something to happen to a woman while they're standing there. I don't care if it's 5 guys doing to that woman what Wes Watson was doing. Get your ass kicked, but run in there and do what you can to stop it. That's what a man does. Whatever the hell you were doing there, you're no alpha male. You're a psychopath. You're literally a psychopath. A week ago, my brother and I ran downstairs because there was a guy on a motorcycle, a scooter, that was grabbing a woman by the neck. That's not something a guy can watch. I'm not calling myself an alpha male, but there's no way I'm standing on a balcony and watching some guy grab a chick by the throat, right? That's just not how it works. Obviously, Wes Watson was raised wrong, right? But more importantly, how about the guys that stood there watching it? Those people need to be charged, man. Those people need to be charged. Here's the thing. My wife says, insecure, pure ego. But while she was here, I said, you got to watch this guy. And she said, I hate him. I don't want to see this. It's disgusting. And I said, you got to watch him because this guy's going to go away for the rest of his life. And I'm calling it right now. He was spiraling out of control. When he first came out, he talked about, when he first got out, he was talking about how drugs will kill you. He was talking about how alcohol will kill you. In the last 4 months or so, knowing he's going back to prison, and he's facing a decade, right, on the first charge. He's facing 10 years. So he knows he's going back. Started tilting back booze. Started going out to strip clubs every single night. And he started snorting cocaine. Not Bolivian marching powder, not the white stuff. No, cocaine, right? Snorting crap loads of it. And he actually, not the brightest bulb. He's filming himself in one of his very expensive cars. I think it may have been a Rolls Royce or a Bentley. It was a Rolls, right? And on the little table that sits between the 2 back seats, because it's a massive back seat, you can see the blow on there. Like I guess he didn't realize that would be in there. But you can see a pile of cocaine. He has lost probably 20% of his massive size that he paid a fortune for. And he's no longer wearing the same watches that he was. He's going out of business. And there's a group of guys on YouTube that just hunt down alpha males and mock them. So I'll give a shout out to John Bravo, who has been torturing Wes Watson for a very long time. Rightly so, by the way. And a guy named Bubba. These guys are viciously prosecuting, so to speak, on YouTube, these fake alpha males. And this is the top of the food chain for, this is exactly what he is, Mop Man. He's a loser and a poser, to be sure. And sadly, he's made a fortune, literally millions of dollars, charging guys $5,000 and $10,000 to set them up. So I'm going to show you how you can be an alpha male. And what he's showing him is how to be a misogynist and a piece of shit. Roberta says 402 of you in here and only 200 have hit that like button. Hey, if you don't like me, hit the other button. But for the love of God, get engaged. You're hanging out. It's keeping free speech alive, right? Do you notice that I'm not saying things like, well, he was snorting the Bolivian marching powder, or he was doing that white stuff that, booger sugar. It's cocaine, right? And he assaulted this woman. He beat the shit out of her. I'm not going to use fake words to say this. He beat this woman like she was a guy. The first time when he got in a fight with that 7-foot-tall black guy, it should have been one-on-one, right? It should have, for Rex Kwando. Well played, Reese. It should have been one-on-one. But you know what? You get in a fight with a guy, I don't give a crap. That's on you. For real. The guy showed up there. Maybe he shouldn't have done that. I don't think it was a fair fight. And jumping people and using a weapon. Obviously, the guy's almost dropped it. Obviously, the guy's not a man. However, it's got nothing to do with me. But when you start beating on a woman, I'm absolutely going to go after you and I'm going to feel good about it. Everybody goes, I take no joy in watching a guy go to prison. I can't wait to watch this guy go to prison. He's going to go to prison and the fellas there ain't going to have any sense of humor about it. It is not a good idea to go to prison for beating up a woman. It's a bad way to start your sentence. Throw on top of that the fact that you claim to be part of the Aryan Brotherhood. Throw on there that you got a tattoo, right, of a teardrop. You'll hear people say all of the time when they talk about prison, did you earn that ink? So if you got a set of lightning bolts on you, it's because you did something to somebody from another race. If you got a swastika on your body, like a guy that I used to do co-hosting with, who's just a lowlife, got a big old swastika on his chest. You do something like that, it's because you're a racist piece of shit and you attack somebody of a different skin color. And they'll ask, did you earn that ink? You'll notice that my ink, I got Alice in Wonderland, people. I was never trying to pretend I was anything I wasn't in there. I didn't join a gang. The term they use is tip up. I got through all that time without joining a gang. And I did it in general population. You don't have to join a gang. Scared people join gangs because they're afraid that something's going to happen to them if they don't have an army of people backing them. Wes Watson, he just checked in. He just went into protective custody. And then while he was in there, he got a cell phone and started filming himself doing push-ups and all kinds of other shit. And he has parlayed that into millions of dollars, really stealing from people. And the world is closing in on this guy fast. And he started spiraling out of control. And I called this. You can go back and watch my last show. I said, no way this guy gets through this without catching more charges. 5 felonies. And I got news for you. Kidnapping, when you hold someone against their will, that's kidnapping. I've talked about this vis-a-vis the case in Tucson. You know what, Tim Trimble? Stick with me. I want to talk to you in a minute. But I talked about this in the past, right? This is a guy. Hi, will Elizabeth Smart captors have a tough time in prison? I saw Elizabeth Smart's captor get knocked unconscious in prison. We were going through the transfer center in Oklahoma, and this guy is not even 5 feet tall. He might be 5'1" or 5'2". He's one of the shortest guys you've ever seen. And someone went over and punched him in the head and hit him so hard that he took down the entire metal detector with him. Beat the piss out of this guy. He is getting absolutely tuned up everywhere he goes. He jumps from prison to prison because everywhere he goes, somebody attacks him. He checked off the tier to PC, definitely screwed. Right, Mop Man? He's already done the PC thing once. And now he's going back to prison after saying racial slurs on YouTube about Mexicans, about blacks, about everybody. He is not going to be looking at good time. And he's doing it in Florida, where blacks and whites are not segregated in the same way that they are in the rest of the country. He could end up with a black cellmate. And he has called them every bad word you possibly can. Tim Trimble, yesterday I went back. You know, it's so hard when I got a chat rate of 2,000 or more. Look at that, Reese, 444. I got to go back and look at all of the comments afterwards. Tim, I get the feeling you don't like my wife. And if it's good, kind-hearted banter, it doesn't come off that way to me. And I'm not being disrespectful. I promise you I'm not. But that woman means more to me than anything on earth. And I will banish you to the land of I'll never see you again if I think you're being mean to my wife. Capiche? I'm glad. This guy is in a world of shit. And I can't take any more. I know you said it's okay. It's not okay with me, kid. I couldn't take more joy in what's happening to this guy if I tried. This is somebody that has deserved this for so long. Every single time he does a video, he talks about the bitches. He talks about all of these different things that just are foul, right? And he did a show where he was on a panel with about 20 guys. And one of them, they asked, what do you think is the greatest thing that you can achieve in life? And the guy said, having a wife that you love, taking care of your kids, things like that. Wes proceeded to stand up and call this guy a bitch in front of the entire audience, none of whom cheered. They sat there, mouths dropped open. It was the beginning of the end for this guy. But he kept going off on him and saying, look at you, you got tits and 10-inch arms. You got tits. This is a really foul and reprehensible person. And I, for one, can't wait to see this guy get a prison sentence. I've been talking with Johnny Scoville. I figure he's getting a dime off of attacking this black guy with a weight belt and then going over with 4 friends. After this guy was on the ground and Wes had punched him about 30 times, which will tell you how much heat he brings, right? Somebody punches you 30 times, you should be dead. But he punches the guy about 30 times and then proceeds to kick his head like a soccer ball. Keep in mind, he has priors. The first time this guy went to prison and checked in, by the way, he went to prison for a little over 8 years, like 8 years and a month. But he tells the world he went away for 10 years. I've never met anybody that claims that they've done more time than they did. Most guys try to shave it down a little. Like if you take the county jail time and everything else, maybe I did a little more than 13 years. But I don't like saying that, right? Most guys don't want to admit just how much time they've done, right? Wes wants you to think he did more. And he talks about how tough it was in there. He literally told a story about a guy that got cut from his ear by Wes. Wes cut the guy from his ear to his chin. And what did he take? What did he say? 180 staples. 180 staples. I don't want to lift my shirt, but I got a stab wound from being in prison. It's about that long, right? I took 5 staples. I watched a warden get cut from his shoulder to his belt, and he took 72 staples. Everything this guy says is bullshit, but nobody takes the time to research it. And I have. I don't talk about content creators. This guy's a content creator. I don't talk about content creators. But if you become a criminal, then I'm absolutely going to talk about you, because this is a case that we are going to cover. This fool is going to be on trial in Florida, and we're going to be able to see it. Steroids have a negative effect on your mental state and make you irate. No excuse, but compounds his issues. Also contributes to his shrinkage. Yeah, the little dick thing could be a problem with steroids. You know what's really funny too? He made videos talking about his huge, manhood. And then the idiot walked up a set of stairs that had like a mirror behind it. He did it on Instagram. It was a window, but it had a reflection on it. And he was going up to have sex with his previous sharmuta, right? This is a girl. All of his girlfriends he hired off of escort sites. I'm not being cold-hearted. It's just a fact. And then he buys them a Brazilian butt lift, and then he buys them fake boobs and abuses them until they get smart enough to leave. This is not the first woman, right? This is absolutely disgusting. However, I'm telling you people, if I hit the tri-state mega bucks, I would not be happier than watching this scumbag go to prison for how he treats women. He beat the piss out of his first wife. By the way, he allegedly just got ready to marry this woman. He hasn't divorced the first one yet, right? The first woman that he married after he got out of prison, who he beat up, right? He beat her up. Yeah, I'm not trying to be mean. And Tim, I'm not super pissed at you, but it just seems as an example, and I'm not trying to be a dick, but it is super important to me that everybody just understands that YouTube, I'd shut this channel down tomorrow, right? My wife is more important to me than anything on earth. It's just kind of one of those things. What's that? Yeah, it's just one of those kind of how it goes down. But yeah, this is a guy that, and what happened is, no, he's not taking steroids now, Cindy G. He started running out of them. He couldn't afford to keep doing Trembling every month. He couldn't afford to keep doing human growth hormone and testosterone and juicing the hell up. Funny thing is this, he took a picture, one of his cars he owns. I deep dove this entire fool. He has like 9 cars at his house. And what he's done is he's allowed about 5 of these cars to be parked at his house. He doesn't drive them much, but when he does, he always makes a point of filming. He has, if these cars were all his, he's got $3 or $4 million worth of cars at his house, but he doesn't make that much money. He does, however, own a Bugatti. He owns a Bugatti Veyron. And the crazy thing about this is he listed it for sale, and he did a paint job swap on it. He went and covered the paint job using basically Photoshop and made it red. It's actually orange. It's hideous. But he made the thing red. The problem is the VIN number was identical. And Johnny Bravo, who goes after these jackasses, and is good at it, found out that he was selling the car. He's running out of money. The problem with ripping people off for a living is once you realize that this is what you do and people start outing you, all of these alpha males are on the run because they can't keep ripping people off, right? Eventually people go, yeah. You know what's really funny? There's a lot of truth to this. He loves the smell of gym nuts. He should come out of the closet. Well, here's the thing. There have been some text messages from the guy. His name is Wesley Watson, right? But all of the people all of the people that attack these fake alpha males call him Peggy. His nickname is Peggy Watson. And the reason is he likes getting pegged. If you do not know what that is, well, maybe that's a good thing. But let's just put it this way. He should come out of the closet. He likes his women to take the male role. And everybody but everybody calls him Peg Watson, Wesley Peg Watson, or Peggy. His last girl outed him. When she came out, she said, yeah, he likes me to put the belt on and go to town on him. Oh, boy. Look, I'm not mad at you. If that's your get down, knock it out. But don't come out and make yourself the toughest dude on planet Earth, right? If, you know, he likes to pick on people whose sexual orientation goes the other direction. And maybe that's not such a good thing to do, right? But people who live in glass houses should probably wear boxer shorts. Johnny Scoble doesn't think this guy's going to go to prison. He thinks that he will take himself out. And I'll tell you something. If he does, I will drop a, oh no. Honestly, I'm not joking. I would be very upset if this guy killed himself. And I mean that. I don't want anybody to kill themselves, especially if they got a date for about 40 years in prison of people beating the piss out of them, because that's what justice would be. On the bright side, this woman was brave enough, right? Hats off to this lady for being brave enough to come forward and report this, because most of the time, this kind of crap doesn't get reported. There are a lot of women that just simply don't do it. And it took courage, especially because this guy has guns at the house. He's locked up and there are guns at the house. If they go and get a search warrant and they go in there and find gun, is he out on bail right now? He is not. He put up the bail amount, $115,000. I assume he put up about $15,000, right? He probably sold a watch or one of his big ass gaudy chains, but he was able to come up with that much money. He posted it, and as soon as he did, he thought, and they said, no, sorry, your first bail has been revoked. Now you're going to have to go in front of that judge, which means he pissed away that money, right? He's out on bail, but he can't leave. They were going to, it was set up where he was going to have to wear a ankle monitor, and more than likely, because he was liquored up when this happened, it would probably be a scram unit. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. Hey, go over there and smack subscribe at Relatable Reese. You will thank me later, I promise you. My wife is funny as hell. And you know what? It's not just funny. There's some very poignant stuff that goes on there too. It's almost like a hysterically funny, if it's like a therapy session, right? That is done by a good comedian. It's a beautiful thing. They should have done a warrant on that house when she told them about the guns. They very well might, right? Don't rule that out yet. But for the person that said he likes to sniff nuts in gym, when he first started doing his stuff, it was called Watson Fitness. And he came out and said, if your arms are only 10 inches long, you're a pussy. If you have boobs and your chest isn't out to here, you're a pussy. If you're not working out every day, and he just continued with this narrative. Recently, he said, hey, working out isn't everything. I don't even like working out anymore. It was stupid. I wasn't enjoying myself. Just did a complete 180. And he does this all of the time, right? All of the time. Plus, Reese is educational. Robin, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I think they will do a warrant on the house. I think they will do a warrant. I don't imagine that they're going to allow the thought that this guy's got guns in there. I would be shocked if they don't go over there and serve a warrant. And if they go over there and they find one gun, he's not going to get out on bail. If they find multiple, hey, Lisa Renfro, then he's going to spend so much more time in prison. Felon in possession of a firearm. Man, I did a decade for that, right? Now, granted, I had more than one of them, and I was selling them, but I pled it down from selling weapons to just being in possession of weapons. A 928, right? And a 912. It was two different counts. What he would be caught with would be 928C, which is having a gun around the house or in your possession while committing another felony. He committed 5 felonies in that house while there was a gun there. And prosecutors will assume that part of the intimidation that this woman was living with was knowing that he had guns in the house. This could absolutely snap on this dude like nothing else. And God almighty, please let that happen, man. Unfamiliar with this guy. He's located in Florida, which is odd because he's San Diego. He's got San Diego tattooed on him. He's got Dago, which is a an organization out of San Diego of white boys, of which he's not a member, but claims to be. He can't go back to California. He doesn't even visit California. And the reason he doesn't is because the gangs in California are stone cold killers, straight up stone cold killers. And they got a green light on him. He gets off an airplane in California, they're going to rub him out. So for real, they will tune that fool up before he gets out of the airport. He has messed up so badly. What's the story with his parents in childhood? How did he get this way? When he was a kid, he was a snowboarder. His parents were paying for him to go up and snowboard every day. There are videos of him. He was actually fairly talented for a younger guy. He was good on a snowboard. But see, that doesn't fit the narrative. So he's written that out of his past. Instead, he was 13. He left home, started dealing dope, bought himself his first condo at 13. Miss me with that shit. Yeah, he said that one day he was on an interview. I was watching the interview. He said he was in the parking lot rolling up blunts, right? A big ass cigar size joints, usually rolled in cigar paper. Great way to make pot taste bad. But anyway, he's rolling up these blunts and he's selling stuff to all of the guys in the parking lot. And one of the guys came up and banged on the window and started talking to him. So he pulled his piece out and shoved it in the guy's face. And the guy doing the interview goes, "You didn't get in trouble for pulling a gun out in the parking lot?" He goes, "This was years ago. It was long before any of this shit happens." Actually, it was 1 year after Columbine, right? But Wesley just makes his story up on the fly. He said, no one's going to research it. That's what these people count on. He said that when all of this dope was coming down, he was picking up on the front, meaning you're getting it on credit, paying it off afterwards, between 100 to 500 pounds of British Columbia weed up front. 500 pounds, 13-year-old. Anybody believe this shit? How does anyone believe this shit? Right? The guy is a pathological liar. And on the bright side, hold on a sec. Lisa Renfro says, my ex-husband is getting out of prison on 4/1. I'm on his victims protection list, and I'm scared to death. I don't blame you. How long has your husband been down? Because in theory, maybe he decided to change while he was in there. It does happen. Cindy G says, why do we always question the parents? Well, I don't think that they were saying, did the parents suck? But a lot of times when you see somebody that's this messed up, there is something in their past that will cause it. It's not 100 out of 100 times. But a lot of times if a person was viciously abused as a child, you can go, well, that kind of makes sense, right? That's why when we see a Nick Reiner, we go, how the hell did this happen? But it can absolutely happen without any assistance. I'm glad that you were on the victims protection list because they're going to let you know everything before it happens. I don't know whether it's a state or a federal crime. In the federal system, he's a career criminal and a gang member, only 6 years this time. So that's going to be a state sentence, correct? The good news is this. In almost every state, they have a program. Where I was, it was called ROPE. It's the Repeat Offender Program. And the ROPE system is going to follow him. If he's a career criminal and a gang member, they're going to follow his happy ass everywhere he goes from the time he gets out. The best thing that you can do, though, is if you don't have a camera on the front of your house, get one. And if you spot this guy, you instantly call because that will be a violation. They will automatically send him back. And never, and I mean never, hesitate to do that. It's the right thing to do 100 out of 100 times. If this guy is dangerous and if he's a career criminal, career criminals are dangerous. More importantly, gang members are super dangerous. And you don't have to tell me the gang, but in all cases, gang members, I'm sorry. I know that people are going to get pissed off at me about this, but gang members are dim-witted. I'm sorry, it's the truth. It's like you're playing games that. What's that? Yeah, well, and it's like I had clubhouses when I was a kid too, with secret handshakes and all of that shit. But I kind of stopped that when I was 12. How common is it? A victims protection list? Is it like a restraining order? It is not. What it means is they're going to contact these people before the person leaves prison to let them know that he's on their way out. However, in most cases, if they go anywhere near one of those people, judges are very happy to violate those people almost instantly. Tommy, I was married to a fatal attraction. I've got to ask you, She was on Klonopin, which she abused, and Xanax, which she abused. Then she killed 5 pounders in a row. She tried to kill me lots. My goodness. That's an awful lot of benzodiazepines. And mixing benzos and alcohol is a bad idea. To put someone on Klonopin and alprazolam, right, clonazepam and alprazolam, which is Xanax, is a really bad idea just for starters, right? By the way, Lisa Renfro, and I know this isn't going to be popular with people here, but if you don't have a weapon, I would get one. Just it's a great piece of advice. I know it makes a lot of people very uncomfortable. You don't need to get one that you have you don't necessarily have to even aim the thing. I would get a shotgun and be willing to shoot the person. I'm sorry, but your life is way more important than his. Yeah, since he's on paper. Well, here's the thing. In the state joint, Mop Man, that's not always that way, right? If he's getting out on parole, he'll be on paper. But if he killed his paper, if he finished up his entire sentence, then he won't be on paper. Yeah, Wes is somebody that absolutely hates women. But I think he hates everybody.
Hates himself.
He hates himself. He does. Tommy, I had to do a year for defending myself in my own home. Imagine that. Well, here's the thing. That is an issue that happens an awful lot, especially if it's a man defending himself against a woman. And sadly, I think it's probably needs to be that way. I know it's not fair, but the scales have been really tipped. Yeah, Tim Trimble says 12 gauge buckshot. Yeah, double-aught buck will take care of it. Even if it's a 10, even if it's a 20 gauge. You know what? Like I'm not with my wife, and we have a lot of haters. But I'll tell you something: if they show up at my wife's house, God be with them, because Reese is now ready to go and trained. What's that?
She'll ventilate.
She will ventilate them, and she'll be in the right. As a child and through her early life, Reese was never shown she had value. Scientology weirdness took that away from her. She raised herself. It's unbelievable that she's the woman she is. And I'll tell you something. I was telling her this. I don't know whether it was today or yesterday, but in the last 6 months, she has changed more than she had in the entire time I've known her. It's a beautiful thing to have a front row seat to. I mean that. Dare we say old Wesley might be a bit sociopathic? I might even go a little bit further than that. He definitely has antisocial personality disorder, to be sure. And I think that there's some psychopathy in there. I really do. He is also a textbook narcissist. Even when he does his videos, he'll go, no bitch wants any other guy but me. You see me walking down the street with my tattoos and all of that shit. They look at you and go, I don't want to be with that fag. I want to be with him. All bitches like me. I mean, the guy's absolutely, it's one of those things that when you first see it the first time, you go, he's putting this shit on, right? This isn't real. He's putting this on. There's no guy that can talk like this. I got away from her and she passed last August. There was a 2-year-old girl, had no dad. I was going to adopt her, but it didn't work out. Philip, you know what? You're a good man. I mean that, man. Wes is the white Diddy poser. Well played. And you know what's crazy, Mott Man? Oddly enough, if you've been on my channel for any length of time and you're going, who the hell is Wes Watson? If you've never seen the show I did on him, you probably saw during when the Diddy universe was kicking, there was Wes Watson met Diddy at a coffee shop in Miami. And he went, look at this. It's like a dream down here. Look at this, man. The man himself. It's like, dude, he's on trial for raping women, beating women, drugging women, right? And boys. And you're gonna act like you're worshiping this fool. Makes a lot more sense now that we know who Wes is. But yeah, he is a white Diddy poser. Diddy at least had the money. This guy is just a complete phony. Tennessee girl says, but you're getting better, Reese. I'm very proud of you. I know that. I love being part of Reese's family. Joe and Marie, I don't blame you. Sorry. What kind of woman would want that kind of man in her life? The kind of woman that wants a boob job that she doesn't have to pay for. The kind of woman that wants a Brazilian butt lift and she doesn't want to pay for it. The kind of woman that wants to be driven around in a Bugatti or in a Bentley or a Rolls Royce and doesn't care whether or not she has to do some things that she wishes she didn't. Now, that being said, Every single person that he has been with since he got out of prison, he either hired off an escort page or he met at a strip club. And I don't care what you do for a living, right? Not going to lie to you. I've done some pretty unusual things for a living in my time. And there may have been a small stint where I danced at a place in Texas. That said, I wouldn't go shopping for my next significant other at a strip club, right? Probably not the best idea. But he doesn't care whether it's a good woman, a bad woman. He just wants the guys that he's with to go, that bitch is banging. He's literally said that. I'm not being a jerk. That's a quote. That's the thing most don't realize about personality disorders. Most therapists refuse to treat them for a reason. They're rarely treatable and notorious for trying to manipulate therapists. That's a fact. They're also dangerous, right? The number of therapists that have been hurt by psychopaths like this guy, right? I wouldn't want to be anywhere near him, and I'm not too afraid of most guys. I would end up killing the guy is what would happen because I couldn't watch what he did. If I was in that house and he grabbed that woman and banged her face on the table, one of us would have been dead that night. Plain and simple. One of us would have died. And he's a steroided monster. Maybe it would have been me. But I'll tell you something. I'd rather die than watch that. Right there. I'll give you something that I've talked about on the show before, but we call it biting the shit sandwich. Right? When you see something that goes so hard against everything that you believe in life and you just go, I'm too afraid to do something about it. That's biting the shit sandwich. And the problem with that is you get shit on your breath, and for the rest of your life, everybody you meet goes, "Oh, I can do whatever I want to this guy." Right? I'd rather pass away than take a nibble on that sandwich. Thank you. It makes me misty-eyed sometimes. She let her quit school in her 11th grade. All I wanted was for her to graduate, and I was going to pay her for college. Philip, you're a good man, and there aren't enough of them left. I mean that. Reese says, I always wanted to be a Tannenbaum. Me too. Me too. Reminds me of the type of narc that killed his wife back in the day in Florida. I'm sure you know who I mean. I do. He wore a baseball jacket and licked his eyebrows for a TV interview. Yeah, oddly enough, I do know who you're talking about. Yeah, these are the same. They're all the same kind of people. They hate women, right? And then they will spend all kinds of time talking about how much they love women. You know, the guy is, well, it's depressing. He met this woman. Within 6 weeks, he asked her to marry him with allegedly a 15-carat flawless stone. When you got nothing to do later, Google what a 15-carat flawless diamond costs. Now, I'm sure it was lab grown. It was still beautiful. What do you care where he got it? But everything for him is a strut. Everything for him. And he is freaked out. You know, every once in a while, someone will say, no, they do. They'll say, Tommy's got anger issues because I will go off on somebody in my chat. Yeah, I do. No, they say it. They say it because I'll go off on someone in the chat for one thing or another. Last night, there was a woman that was just very, very mean with Savannah Guthrie. And, you know, someone said to me, I can't believe how mean you are to that woman. I'm sorry, right? However, Wes Watson, all right? Wes Watson on tape, there was a guy that was using a backpack blower, was blowing down leaves off of the property he was renting. And you talk about a guy coming unglued. I literally thought he was going to go out and kill the guy. He's screaming at the top of his lungs. He's got veins popping out of his neck. And you're like, a woman's going to go up and go, that's my guy. That's the dude I want to spend the rest of my life with. Narcissists are the worst. Was married to 2. Nearly destroyed me, but healthy and healing now. Good for you, Heather. And most of all, finally living peace. Thanks be to God. I happen to agree. I have peace in my life. I mean that, Philip. You're a good dude. Hey, Chef, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Absolute nut jobs. Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Primitive Lifeways. I believe that is where a boy named Sue beat the hell out of his dad, wasn't it? It was Gatlinburg in mid-July. He couldn't afford the scratch to get the payment for a 15-carat diamond. You're damn right he couldn't. I promise you he couldn't. Right? This is a guy that, Tommy, word on the street was the ring was rented, not purchased. It was for views like rappers rent their chains. Well, you know what's funny? His chains have disappeared. He used to have these big, thick, gnarly platinum and gold chains. Now he wears chains that look like a tennis bracelet, like a woman would wear with the diamonds around it, except
actual tennis bracelet.
yeah, and he does wear a tennis bracelet. You know what else he does, which I find really unusual? Don't judge me. I don't want to hear it. Don't send me an email. But the guy carries a purse. Now, apparently this is, oh, stop it. Apparently this is a big thing now. There are guys that you know, if it's a $5,000 or $10,000 purse, it's not a big deal to carry him. Let me know how that works out in cell block C. Let me know how the fellas in cell block C think about your man purse. Wes, bald head is shaped pretty good, minus the tats, of course. As a bald head guy, you got to admit that. Absolutely. I said that to my brother day one. The guy ruined. There are people that shouldn't have bald heads. There are people that Chef Bryant's got a great bald head, or a satchel, Laura Lou, man bag. There you go. There are people that call them other things that rhyme with bag. I don't understand why the big chains. Cluster FU. So back in the day, I can explain this, believe it or not. Back in the day, there were guys that wanted to make sure that no matter what happened to them, they could bail out of jail. Pimps were really big with this. They would wear $10,000 to $20,000 worth of jewelry at any given time, because if you got busted, right, you could release your wallet, your chains, anything you have for personal property to anyone that comes up to get it. You just have to sign a form, and you were instantly out of prison. That was how you got out. You follow me? Reese says, I'm getting Johnny a purse for his birthday. Well, if you're going to do that, he says that it's got to be Louis. There you go. What's that? Johnny Scoville says if you buy it from Louis Vuitton, he'll rock that purse. He won't, but it is a funny thing to say. I agree with you. He's got a great bald head. Why would you then tattoo the hell out of it? And here's the thing. You're getting prison tattoos on the street, right? You know what we call that inside? It's called the thug makeover with a pepper embroidered on it. Oh, now he's in. Now he really will wear it. It's called the thug makeover. You go into a tattoo shop with $4,000 and go, make me look hard, right? Jeannie Hansen says, you have good taste in purses, Reese. I'm sure Johnny will appreciate it. Yeah, no question. But everything he does, and he says things that really don't come out good, right? He says things in interviews and in other places that just come out really bad. He's bisexual. That's fine. I don't give a crap. I really don't. You know, if that's how you get down, and everybody is in. Johnny, you and Tommy have excellent domes. Well, thank you, Neptune Lioness. I got lucky, right? Carrying your own bail money with you. Clever. Yeah, it really is. And if he got busted with those chains on, that's probably how he was able to come up with the 15 grand to bail himself out. The really big chains have all been sold. He likes to wear watches from a company called Richard Mille. Some people say Richard Mille. But either way, they're very, very expensive watches. The low end, 40 grand. The high end might be 100. But none of his are real. I promise you, this is something I know a lot about. Chuck Norris did pass away. We were talking about this earlier. You know, the doctor came in and said, you're getting to the end of life. Are you ready for this? He got up, beat the shit out of the doctor, and laid back down and said, I'm ready. Chuck Norris was one of the absolute greats, one of the toughest guys ever, man. Yeah, you know what you call it? A quick way to secure a good case of Hep C. If I had to bet, I would say he absolutely already has Hep C. I do not support domestic violence against women at all, but when do you plan on doing a live chat on domestic violence against my men by female partners? This happens far too often and gets ignored. James, I have done this in the past. Absolutely have done this in the past. I am a sexual assault survivor as a kid, and I was assaulted by women. So this is a subject that I have brought up. Women get much different sentences. If a man sexually assaults a student, they're going to go away for 30 years. And a woman teacher that does it will get probation. And that is an issue. I agree with you 100%. And domestic violence is wrong in all cases. But I would be more than happy to talk about it. But in every one of its forms, it is reprehensible. If a woman is sexually assaulting a child, or a man is sexually assaulting a child, or if anyone is putting hands on anyone for any reason other than to defend, then that's reprehensible. I agree with you, and I certainly don't condone it. I'm not a guy that condones it. One of the reasons that it tends to piss me off more when guys do it is just because of the makeup of men versus women, right? I don't know. I'm a big dude. I can't imagine me trying to hurt a female. I've tried to hurt many men in my life, but if I went after my significant other, it certainly wouldn't be a fair fight. If she went after me, I could definitely subdue her before I was in a whole lot of trouble. So I do tend to come down heavier on guys. But if this woman had been beating the piss out of Wes Watson, it would be the same thing. She was not. She was being abused viciously, which is the show we're talking about tonight. But I absolutely hear your point, and I do talk about it. You can go back and watch shows that I've done on it. Will I carry your purse? As long as I don't have to look inside it. I carry your purse all the time. She does it to me so often you have no idea. Tell the truth. You do it to me all the time. But then she also wants me to get stuff out of it. I will not go in a woman's purse. It's just one of those things. Yeah, it is not a gender issue. It is not. Nah, mini backpacks are cool. We're a different animal. A mini backpack is fine. My husband is Brooklyn born and bred. Now he's getting older, has a mini backpack for all of his glasses. I always remind him when we're out, have you got your purse? Oh, no. I bet he loves that. West Coast Fancy Nancy, how are you? Getting here late? You remember the show that I did on Wes Watson, and I said, his day is coming. You watch. This guy will not be able to stay out of trouble, and he is not. He caught 5, and I mean 5 new felonies, and they are all crimes against women. This is a guy that absolutely, see, Tim Trimble will not open a purse either. Yeah, Tim, I won't even look in it. Reese gets very angry. She'll go, come on, it's just in my purse. Sometimes I'll go and try to put my hand in it. I won't do it. Will Wes be a target in prison since he is a notable convict? Yes, he is such a target in prison. I can't explain it. Number one, thank you, Florida Court Reporter. I'm in Florida and never seen him. Does he still have a YouTube channel? He does, but he doesn't put anything up on it because all he gets is hate. In Florida, it's no fault in family law divorces, but for kids, alimony. Well, he hadn't gotten married yet, and he couldn't have been married. It was more of a bluff than anything else because he hasn't divorced the first wife yet. Why? Because he doesn't want to get anywhere near her. He's afraid he might get arrested. He beat the crap out of her. This is a guy that can't keep his hands off of men or women. He is a absolute psychopath. But you want to beat up a guy? I don't know. I don't get as pissed off about it. But this time he beat up a woman, and he's going to go into prison. In answer to the first question, he's going to go into prison as somebody that beat up a woman. You get no points for that. The fellows have no sense of humor about that. That's number one. Number two, he claimed to be a member of a gang, the biggest white gang in the entire United States in terms of prison gangs, the Aryan Brotherhood. He is not a member of the Aryan Brotherhood. He has a teardrop tattoo on his face that he got on the street. Absolutely uncool. He said unbelievably racist things about black guys on film. He said unbelievably racist things about Mexican guys on film. He has absolutely been the world's biggest misogynist, and he told one lie after another, after another, after another about his 10 years in prison. He said he was a shot caller, right? There are no shot callers on protective custody yards. Everything he said was a lie. And the fellas inside can look that stuff up like this. They'll make a phone call to one person and be like, this guy's full of shit. So, yeah, he's in a lot of trouble. Florida Court Reporter, thank you for your support. Your never-ending support means the world to me. It's why I can say all of the things that I said tonight that they don't want to hear on YouTube. A lot of gambling influencers have man purses, but I have not gone down that road yet. Roulette Master, I respect that. Stick with it. I'm sorry, man. I know people go, what difference does it make? Well, my mom carries one. My sister carries one. My wife carries one. I rest my case. I do it in Braille, says Reese. Yes, I don't like going in a woman's purse. To me, I feel like that is their personal space, and I never should be inside it, right? I don't ever want to be inside that purse. So this is a great question. What's going to happen to all four of them, or your guess as to what will happen? Unless the prosecutor is an epic douchebag, and I don't know any other way to say that, but unless the prosecutor on this drops the ball, all of them need to be prosecuted. All of them. One allegedly watched the door to make sure she couldn't leave. One took her cell phone away from her. All of those things are kidnapping stuff, right? Holding someone against their will. They took the phone and went through it looking for any evidence of cheating. And then I don't know if it was the same one because of how it's written. It's kind of confusing. But one of the other ones was chastising this woman for having the audacity to have her boobs visible. I don't know what you do, leave them at home. But you see, since Wesley Peg Watson had paid for this woman's rack, he somehow had the right to say to her, you can never show your boobs anywhere in public. Same here. My mother called me neck to get her purse ever, but part of that was because she had a bit of vodka in it. Yeah, Mom was a drunk till I was 10 years old and then sober for 60 years. Good for her. What do I think I'll find in there? I don't know. I don't want to know what's in there. It's absolutely her private place. I don't want any, whatever's in there, it's all hers. And the only time I ever had to tap out is because she said, I need my inhaler in there. So I did this one until I felt an inhaler. She'd get effed up and start beating on me and call the cops. I'd go to jail. I'm so sorry, man. Philip, it's hard. It really is. I am blessed that I've had some bad couplings in my life, but I never had one that was physically violent to me. I had the SA stuff, but that was when I was considerably younger. The girl's an adult, not barely legal. The girl, yeah, she's what is she, 20? Yeah, she's 20 years old. And he takes her to, clubs and does all that, but she's a 20-year-old. I think a little too young, but what do I know? Yeah. Wallet, sunglasses, gum, lipstick, and tampons. Good enough for me. I don't need to go in there. Is it true he moved from Cali to Florida because he was a target in Cali? Yeah, 100%. You can't claim all the stuff that he claimed because a lot of the guys that were in prison, right, end up on the streets. Philip Carter says, Tommy, amen about our wallets. Reese never goes in my wallet. Actually, maybe she has. Like I would say to her, just get some money out of that or something. But James, I do understand that. And there are states that he absolutely moved from Cali really quickly. He absolutely moved from Cali because they have a green light on him. All of the prison gangs in California will absolutely take him out if they see him. He can't go back. He doesn't even visit. He talks about San Diego. It's his home, how much he loves it. He has not been back once since getting out of prison. And it's because all of the lies that he told, he has told the world he did all of his time in California. He didn't. He was protective custody, and they shipped him to Arizona because he couldn't do time in the state he was busted in. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Now, with that said, are you also aware of the fact that when people see a man disrespecting and berating a woman, they think he's the abuser? Well, if a guy is berating and disrespecting a woman, I think that is abusive. Nobody should be doing that to somebody they care about. If that's going to happen, maybe get somebody new. Those man purses usually packing some heat. I agree with you. There are people that, does a man's peen grow back if they stop roids? I hope not. I hope not. Love your show. Keep it going. I just found out grandbaby 6 arrived today. Congratulations, Cat Father. How cool is that? That is absolutely awesome. I love that. What do the 3 cowards get out of their relationship with the ass? That's a great question. What they get is they get to ride around in Bentleys, and he pays the bills. This is an entourage of losers is what it is. This is an entourage of losers that he pays the bills. He's buying the dope because they're all snorting cocaine and partying. So they're cranking off of the guy's money is what it is. The fact could have gone something terrible to him that could have triggered that. and he may be the victim and she could be the perpetrator, but people think he's the abuser for yelling, not knowing the case. I understand exactly where you're coming from. If a woman puts a man in that position, he should not be berating her or yelling at her in public. And if a guy does it to a woman, she shouldn't either. What they should do is separate themselves from that person. In my humble opinion, if I see somebody berating a woman in public, he is the abuser. I don't give a shit what happened before that. I really don't. And if I see a woman berating a man, I will assume she's the abuser. That stuff shouldn't happen in public. It shouldn't, right? That's just begging for trouble. And if that's the relationship that they have, then maybe they need to get the hell away from each other, right? That sounds really unhealthy to me. And I'm not giving anybody a pass, but here's the thing. When I see a man berating a woman in public, I'm not too concerned that the woman's going to kick the shit out of the man, but I get really concerned that the man might kick the shit out of the woman. And if that's a character defect on my part, it's one I'm going to stick with. My dad taught it to me. So I'm kind of stuck with it. Yeah, it's, well, I'm glad that you're doing well, Philip, because it's something that, and I would imagine, since we're probably close to the same age, that most people patted you on the back and said, good for you, you little stud. Doesn't happen with the shoes on the other foot. And it makes it really hard for you to say, hey, this is messing me up, when everybody is trying to make it sound like it was a great thing and they wish that that happened to them at 12. I assure you, if it did, they wouldn't be happy about it. But I'm glad you're doing well, and I'm glad that you have the balls to talk about it. It took me 50 years and grace of God and a really good woman. And if not, I still wouldn't be talking about it, and I'd still be messed up. 20 is technically a minor in some places, right? Well, not, man, she shouldn't be going into bars. I'll tell you that. She absolutely should not be going into bars. In court, it was testified that you have to sign a 10-year financial commitment for out-of-country ladies. It's been scary what happens if they cause issues. Yeah, there are a lot of people that do those. Yes, I did see the Dugar arrests, and I'm going to be doing a show on it. I promise you. Catfather, congrats. Couldn't be happier for you. Thought I was in love. Turned out it was a bad case of indigestion. It's one of the other things, honest to God. I've had this conversation. You know, you do think you're in love. At 12, you probably were sold that this is the woman you were going to marry. Kind of sad. Maybe I missed it, but where does he get his money, or what does he do for a living? Jen Feinberg, what he does is rip people off. He comes out and says, I can show you how to make the money I did. I just got out of prison and I have made millions of dollars, and I'll show you exactly how you can do it. Then he literally says, just do what I did. Start being a personal trainer, and then start selling a kit just like I'm selling to you now. And you're going to show the person how to do the diet. You're going to show them how to work out. And he literally just used AI to come up with a routine, sent the same routine to every single person, whether that person was 6'1", 220 pounds and 45 years old, or 170 pounds, 17 years old. Everything was just the exact same regurgitated shit. And some of these people paid $20,000 and $30,000, right, to get involved with this person. And then they would go to these private groups, and in these private groups, he would just curse at them and call them pussies, right? The person would ask a question and he'd go, "You're an effing retard. If you don't get this," I mean, he is just vicious. And when you try to cancel, he doesn't give you your money back. And it's like he knows that eventually the shit's going to hit the fan, right? And he didn't care. And that's kind of how it's going down. Oh, the fatal attraction thing. Well, I thought I was in love when it first happened to me. I wasn't. I was young and didn't really know better. Sounds like Andrew Tate, part due. That's one of the best comments of the day. For those who know who Andrew Tate is the father of the alpha male bullshitter. The difference being, Andrew Tate really did make that much money. He did it by victimizing literally hundreds and hundreds of women. Am I still fasting? I am not still fasting. I ate today, and it was absolutely fantastic. It really was. Johnny and I went and ate at a restaurant nearby and had ceviche, the mix two, ceviche, and we told our friend that runs the restaurant that we were breaking the fast. And it was when we were done, he took the bowls, took them back, filled them, and brought them back. It was, yes, that is why I am nicer today. See, Cindy G gets it. She's been around long enough. Andrew Tate is a pimp. That's exactly what he was. He was a digital pimp, which is sleazier, really, than almost anything, in my opinion. Where did he find those sponsors for money? I've had to work hard for mine. Not fair. Wow, thank you, Philip. What a kind thing to say. Yes, I did pig out. I'm not going to lie to you, I did. And on the bright side, it was one of those things. Did I lose weight? I would imagine. I don't weigh myself, but it looked like my belly button was touching the back of my spine. So I have a feeling I lost weight, but I will put it all back on quickly. I do it not to lose weight. In fact, I was very comfortable with the weight I was at, so I will put it back on. That, and Reese doesn't like me too thin. Yes. Robert Fratta was the guy that licked his eyebrows. Texas, not Florida. They killed him on death row. They did. He hired a black guy to kill his wife, and he shot the woman as she was getting out of her car. He told on him that fast. Fratta was he was a jackass, but they gave him the death penalty, and he actually got put to death. He was crazy. No, absolutely no two ways about it. He was crazy. And if you remember, I just under a full 7 days, Cowboy Logic, just under a full week. So if I had made it to about 6 o'clock tonight, it would have been a full week, but we ate before that. The Fratta was also into some really weird sexual stuff, right? Including the kind of sexual stuff that nobody in the world is into. Just think really foul. You got me reading about how good it is to fast. I'm going to try it next week. Thanks for the motivation. It is absolutely good for you. And a lot of times they will not write this down when you, yeah, exactly right, thought criminal. When you, they won't write this down, but you have this mitochondria stuff in your body, and it makes up almost all of our body weight. And if you think about it like sperm cells, because that's kind of what they look like in the body, they get damaged and they don't start all going in the same direction. Fasting for 7 days will kill off all of the mitochondria that is not healthy, and everything will get back into sync. And I'm telling you, when you're done with it, it is life-changing. If you're going to go 7 days, have salt around. And if you start feeling lightheaded or anything weird, you can supplement yourself with salt. Fasting resets your body. It absolutely does. There's really some fantastic stuff to it. By the way, if you happen to be a believer in anything, your ability to pray, meditate, whatever you're going to do becomes very different after about 72 hours. It really does change. How long to get the effect? Cindy G, you can get it at about 72 hours. Most of the bad mitochondria will be killed off, right? I, however, go a little bit longer than that. The first 2 times I did it in prison. I could never fast for a week unless it was forced. No way. Here's the thing. You believe it or not, you don't, after about day 3, you don't hurt. What is my take on Manson and his followers? I think that Manson was a product of MK Ultra. I believe this 100%. He went to the free clinic in Haight-Ashbury that was set up by the government of the United States. It was part of Operation Chaos, where they were doing everything they could to discredit hippies, because hippies were leading the anti-war movement, and they viewed the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, and the government of the United States viewed hippies as a very dangerous entity. And they had a free clinic out there where they were giving LSD to people, and they were doing MK Ultra kind of experiments on these people. It is an absolute fact that Charles Manson went there. If you look at Manson's entire career as a criminal, he was a thief. There was nothing violent in this guy's life. And that didn't happen until he got out. He also got busted with a pistol while out on paper. He committed a new crime, and they did not send him back. Whitey Bulger had MK Ultra done to him too. He certainly had a lot of acid given to him. He signed up for a program, Whitey did, while he was inside, and he agreed to take acid every week for a year to get, I don't know whether it was 57 days off of his sentence, 57 days off of his sentence, and $50 a month. So about $600 to be dosed up every single week with LSD. Really kind of sad. So Manson didn't have anything in his past that showed any kind of violence or any kind of that shit, right? It was bizarre that they didn't throw him back to prison, right? Now, he also was doing Scientology. He listed it as his religion. So Charles Manson went from being a loser who was just a petty thief. Everything he had been to prison for was stealing cars, stealing food, stealing bikes. He was just a thief. And when he got out the last time, it was very, very different, right? In other words, mitochondria disorders cause some scary stuff. Yes, they do. Off topic, I was trying to wipe a speck off of my screen, and I realized it was the tiny light under your TV. Do you know something, Rue? I did that right before I went live. I went like this, and it didn't come off, and I went and got a wet paper towel and did the exact same thing. That is so funny. Mopman says, I fast for 8 days regularly, and then I do stretches for 5 days. It helps my depression. I believe that. I absolutely believe that. Rue, you're a rock star, and I swear to you, I did the exact same thing right before going live. Tennessee Girl says, I've done that before, too. Next time I buy a TV, I'm going to get one that doesn't have that little light on it when we go live, because it absolutely got me. I was leaning out. I'm like, what the hell is that? Jen says, it damn sure is. Yeah, no, I did that right before going live today, Rue. That is so funny. And thank you for the never-ending support, Rue. You help keep free speech alive. I agree 100% about Manson, MK Ultra, Manson, and Timothy Leary crossed paths. Yeah, and when he got out, he listed, I pulled all of his prison records. He listed for his religion, Scientology. And I think that the combination of a lot of acid and a lot of Scientology didn't do any real good for Manson. That makes me feel happy that Tommy and Reese found each other. Yeah, we did. And you know what? It wasn't an easy road, and I wouldn't trade any of it. I really wouldn't. We've survived things that have made us a very unique couple. And there aren't a lot of things on this planet that make me happy, but she sure does. I smoked so much weed in high school, I stained my underwear. Philip Carter, I smoked a lot of weed in high school too, except I kept doing it until I was about 29, until it started to interfere with the amount of heroin that I could afford. I was making a lot of money, but it doesn't matter how much money you make. I do it every day, but I will do it for you the next time I do it. She says, Tommy and Johnny, would you do me a favor and go out on your balconies and just smell the air and listen and watch the waves for me? That would be very peaceful, calming to the end of the day after this. I promise you I will. I absolutely promise you I will. Manson got out. He did, Tim Trimble. He got out. He had been in, so Manson went to prison the first time when he was about 13, right? He ended up in a boys' home, or 9, I guess, technically. He went to a boys' home, but he was in and out, in and out, in and out. The last time he got out was like 67 or 68. And it was, he was another very little man. You're right, Rick. He was 5'2", I think. He was a very short guy. But Manson got out, and that was when he started hanging out with all of the sort of the hippies, right? And that's when he found Spawn Ranch. That's when he went out there and did all of the things that that led to the Tate LaBianca murder scene, right? And the all of the murders that he did. I had a great passenger tonight, drew me a picture of the spaceship that took him back to the mothership, and he said he was a psychic also. I think he mixed up a couple of letters on psychic. Yeah. Thought Criminal says, crazy like a fox. Yeah, I'm getting close, Reese. Manson got out the hard way the last time. Yes, he did. Manson died in prison. They did move him out of prison to a hospital where he died. Cowboy Logic, good night to you too. What a kind thing to say. I appreciate that. I really do. And you know what? You make this channel better. One of the great things about this, I don't do YouTube the way other people do YouTube. Neither does my wife. And one of the things that makes us unique is that you guys are such a huge part of the show. You know, if you've watched me for a long enough period of time, there are nights that the audience doesn't bring it, and I sit and go, JC, Arizona, good night, my friend. But it's very different when the audience is engaged and we're talking about cool stuff and the subjects are coming up. It's a lot more fun, and I appreciate you guys. How long have Reese and I been together? 4 years, I think. We're closing in on 4 years. Well, that's a beautiful thing. It really is. I'm going to be honest with you. I asked these questions because years ago I had a heated argument with my ex chick. Both of us were yelling at each other in public and no one interfered. You know, when both people are yelling, more likely than not, people aren't going to interfere. And if you're just yelling, then it usually, I was honestly wondering why no one interfered and just walked by. Why do you think? I think that when they see two people that are going at each other, then it doesn't look like anyone is abusing the other. When you see one party screaming at another, that's when more likely than not someone's going to call the police. And in 2026, if it's a woman yelling at a man, they'll call the police on that. In the state of Nevada, where I used to live, if a woman called or a man called the 911 and said that there was domestic violence taking place, when they show up, the law says one of the two parties had to be arrested. And my the lawyer that I married used to use that as a weapon. I mean, we wouldn't even be in an argument. But one night I was getting to a point where I felt like I was going to explode. We just weren't doing well. And I said, I'm going to go for a walk. I just need to. And Reese will tell you, I do this to control my emotions. If I'm starting to lose it, I'm going to just get away from the situation, walk around, clear my head. It's kind of a way of meditating for me to just calm down so that when I have a conversation, I'm not doing it with the emotional part of my brain, because the emotional part of your brain and the logical center, the executive function of your brain, the two of them will not work at the same time. So I say, I'm going to go for a walk. When I do, Reese goes, excellent. I'll talk to you when you get back. My ex-wife, the one that was attorney, said, walk out this door and I'm going to call the police and I'm going to report you for domestic violence. And the first time she did it, I swear to God, the first time she did it, I was like, it was the end of our marriage. And I knew I wasn't in a position to end the marriage right then, but that was the end of our marriage, because that was, to use that as a weapon, especially for somebody that was out on bail, right? Not bail rather, but I was on federal probation. So, and she didn't even say I was going to call the cops. She said, I'm going to call your probation officer. And I've never hit a woman. I've never raised my hand to a woman. It was not even an argument. It was ramping up. And I said, I got to go for a walk. And she said, if you do, I'm going to call your probation officer. So I sat in that house and yeah, control is a weapon. It absolutely was. And it was, but it was the end of us. I mean, I stuck around for years after that, but not years, about a year, but the relationship was over that day. Anybody that could threaten you with that, I want nothing to do with it. And when I work with people who are trying to get sober, whether they're male or female, I will say, anyone that calls the cops on you, they call 911. If you hit somebody, they should call 911. If the person is scaring the shit out of you, then you should call 911. But if somebody just does it as a way to, don't, Neptune Lioness, talk to a doctor. If you're taking medications, talk to a doctor before you fast. But I tell everybody, if they call 911 on you as a weapon, get the hell away from them, because that is the most unhealthy thing on planet Earth, right? Yeah, Mary Krause, here's the thing. And I don't like trashing this woman because she's not here to defend herself. So it's not something that I do. But she was my attorney. So I was in prison, right? We got married while I was in there. I married my defense attorney. But there's a level of control that puts her in from Jump Street. She can, if she wants to put money on my books, she can. If she wants to do this, she can. But I have zero control in this relationship. And it was a bad start. And I just wasn't smart enough at that point in my life to understand things like that. But it's one of the reasons that I'm in a very unique relationship with my wife. I didn't realize that relationships like this could take place. I really didn't. We respect each other's autonomy, which is something that's kind of essential if you have YouTube channels. Reese doesn't always agree with my subjects, and I don't always agree with hers. But we respect the fact that if that's what she's doing, then that's who she is, and that's a part of who she is. And I've learned to not just respect it. There was a time where I would put up with it. Now I think it's a beautiful thing. I really do. I love the fact that she has a life that I have no control over. And once I started to appreciate that, I think once we both started to appreciate that, the amount of growth that we have, not just as human beings, but as a relationship, has been stellar. To be honest, it's almost wild. And if I come across as a guy that just has a wicked crush on his wife, it's because, aside from the fact that we really are head over heels for each other, there's. Did you just hear a meow? You probably did. There's also a level of respect for what she has endured, and I think she has a level of respect for what I have endured. Right? I've had some. I had a tough run, and so did she. I think she had a tougher run, but to see the two of us coexist and root for each other, right? I'm her biggest fan, and I have no doubt at all that she's my biggest fan. And that's a beautiful thing. And if you ever get a chance to do that, and if you've never done it with your best friend, it really may be the greatest thing on planet Earth. If you've never had sex with your best friend, you just haven't lived. That's my personal opinion, and probably too much information. Mom, if you're watching, I'm really sorry, but we are definitely a couple. All right, people. I've gone about an hour and 41 minutes, which is about the. If I go any longer, I'm liable to see a pumpkin and I'll no longer be this handsome devil. I will revert back to the pumpkin type of thing. Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. Both of you are the type of personality that should appreciate and want someone that's not going to control you. I think that's an absolutely great comment. I think that it's good night, Michael. Sorry. I'm just blessed to beat hell. I got the better part of this, and that's always a beautiful thing. All right, people, between now and the next time that I see you, you know what? Be kind to each other and take a little bit of satisfaction in the fact that there's stuff that happens in true crime that's beautiful. Wes Watson's going to go away. This is a guy that needs to go away. No, thank you, Jen. 4 years is epic. Another 4 in there for Jen. I love that, man. I really do. That's the best part of my day. And I mean that, Jen. That is so amazing. He's going to go to prison, and he absolutely should go to prison. That's a beautiful thing. Same with Corey Richin. She's going to spend the rest of her life in prison, and she absolutely should. Right? The brothers, the Alexander brothers from Florida, are going to go to prison for the rest of their lives for what they did to women. It's not all us waiting for justice. There's a lot of justice that's come already in 2026. Let's hope it is served big time with Wes Watson. I'm going to cover this trial. This is going to be one I cover. He was such a shit show on YouTube. There's no way I'm going to miss that. And thank you for everybody that weighed in tonight. It's been a great stream. You guys make this better. And thank you to everybody keeping free speech alive. It makes a huge difference. It really does. I'm Tommy. I will see you on the next one. Congratulations, Heather, whatever. Man, that's a long time. 1987. Good for you. All righty, everybody. Good night.